Oh, but ladies and gentlemen, where are my manners? The man of the hour who's letting us use a lift, Mr. Samson Andrew.
You want to race?
Yes.
You want to drive out here first?
So in today's video, we're going to feature both of the probably never sell trucks right here. Grandma's truck's going to make a feature. Some of you guys' recommendations on what the issues were with a couple of lights on the dash, we're going to address those. You might have been right. But also, we're going to get my boy into the shop, see if we can address what is making it difficult to shift. Because we got some issues that I think that I might have been at fault for back when I was 20 years old when I put a 5-speed in that red truck. So let's get down to the shop and start diving into it. Got my boy up on the lift. First time I've ever had it on a lift, that's for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and swap out the hydraulics. So you get this kit. This is basically it's factory replacement, or it might have even been the original factory one. Not quite sure. No, it's not factory, because it's got metal right there, as far as I know. But this thing here is shot. And back in the day when I was driving this thing, it was hard to go in and out of gear, even though I had a low mile trans. And I think it was this, because it's only gotten worse. And so the reason why I didn't start is the clutch pedal was pushed so far down all the time, because the hydraulics were just crapping out, that the neutral safety switch or clutch safety switch popped off and went by this just a little bit and was riding up here. So this is like 150 bucks from Napa, and I was just cruising on Amazon. This is 60 bucks. I know, Amazon, but still, this is cast. This is cast right here. That's plastic. This is cast. That's plastic. I was like, whoa, dang, let's give her a shot. I wonder if I got another one of those. But we're also going to swap out a couple things under the front end here. I'm going to try and save box. I almost want to say that's a new box on there, because I had a parts truck or a project truck and I bought a brand new box for it. I got that hoopty out of the way. Wasn't that tight. I'll tell you what else is not that tight. Yeah. Wow. I mean, several turns. I think I'm going to go ahead and drop it down just to double check, see how the grooves look on that thing. But everything else, honestly, I didn't swap it, but factory doesn't come with this stuff. Obviously, for the miles, it wouldn't have. Same front end anyway, but it's all got greasable stuff and it's got Moog ball joints. So, but I do need a new track bar. The lift is nice. I remember putting this thing on here. The steering stabilizer. Oh, I still gotta put the little collar. But yeah, that was probably my fault. It wasn't that tight because yeah, I screwed that up. I don't think I put a track bar on it, but I did now. That's documented. This was actually loose. The nut was loose. So what the problem is it's a tapered fit. So the cotter key doesn't actually go into the castle nut without putting a washer underneath there. So it could actually get itself loose. And once you got a tapered fit, and once it goes loose, then it just is loose. But we're gonna do track bar in there. $100 on Amazon, but with the discount, it was less than that at with my commercial account down in Napa. So I'm happy with it. But look at the old one. I thought this thing was shot. I mean, if you can't feel movement this way by pulling on it, trying to feel the resistance right here, this thing is still a good track bar. There is nothing wrong with that. Could use a little bit of grease right there in the sweet spot, but it's still, if it's hard to move, it's still good. Typically they rattle crap apart, but I tighten that up, double tightened. Now I'm gonna put the collar back on there. But before I lower it, I'll go ahead and grease all this stuff, because might as well. I mean, we're here. But when I was in Wyoming in 2013, I zip tied that thing on there. 2014, because the little grommet thing rotted and fell off. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a grommet on there. If I could go back and talk to the 19-year-old me to tell him to put the bushing in it. Turns out these things, important. They go right here. If you don't put them in there, then it ends up doing that. I don't think a bushing would have saved that. So I had to pull this whole thing out. That's the clutch side, that's why it's hard to go into gear. Oof, bad shape. What's up, dirty kid? I'm realizing it now. This footage is all over the place. But check this out. This, I distinctly remember not putting that bushing in there. That little plastic bushing, and thought, you know what? Grease is going to be fine. And probably within a year or so of driving the truck, that thing was squeaking. And what made me really notice it, and even the last owner, he said, well, the pedals seem to be kind of sloppy. And I thought, all right, it's probably just that bushing. Need to put a bushing in there. And I was just going to slap a bushing in there and call it a day. So when it turns into a snowman, that's wallered out the hole to the point of no return. That's way worse than I ever would have thought. So the truck that I got the 5-speed from, the donor engine and everything, we got the pedal assembly out of it. And now we're going to get the full-on pedal assembly housing. See if that helps. How do I look? Look like I just got done pulling a tranny. Anyway, last time you guys saw us, we were swapping out the pedal assembly on this truck because my arrogance, neglect back in the day didn't put the plastic bushing in there. Just some grease, thought it'd be fine. Wallered out the hole on the clutch pedal, not the tranny. And yeah, that was a mistake. Couple hours to fix that. We still don't have very good going to gear. Once the transmission gets warmed up, it's very annoying. It's easier just to start the truck in gear. That's bad. Now this clutch has got 25,000 miles on it, 30,000 miles somewhere in there. Not that many. I put it in Christmas Day 2013, over 10 years ago. Truck has not really been driven much since. So I just went ahead and spent the last 35 minutes to pull the trans. I have a hunch that it's the pilot bearing. Pilot bearing is on the end of the input shaft from the transmission where it mates up to the back of the engine. If that gets dry or if it gets an issue with it, it throws out, then your input shaft is always going to be turning and have some resistance with the engine. So let's check it out. Now, I came back from school for Christmas break, and this center force clutch was a gift from my family for Christmas. And I highly doubt that I would have neglected swapping out that pilot bearing, but very possible. Very, very possible. And also, if your splines don't slide very good on your input shaft and clutch, that could be a problem. But you can see if we can get a good angle on it. It's not wearing, well, it doesn't feel good. But you can see the lines. If I get, yeah, there you go. Edge of the bearing is grabbing. This is not ideal. That needs to be cleaned up. When I G56 swapped my 98, I just put the trans in there to fit it. And I was stupid. And I had the clutch already in there. That was a mistake. So the input shaft where it went into the pilot bearing was a little rusty because the trans had been sitting in the back of a truck underneath the tarp for a couple of years. It didn't want to come out. I had to literally put a ratchet tie down on it to pull it out. It had a Valère, different style, not a needle bearing, but a ball bearing one, and the ball bearing one's got a center race, but nevertheless, it got stuck in there and it was a pain in the butt. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the clutch off. The clutch feels fine. I know it's a good clutch. It was expensive back when stuff was expensive. Now everything is just stupid price. So, pull the clutch off there and see how that bearing looks. I'll show you what a good one's supposed to look like. Excuse the mess. Gridlocked. Bearing puller doesn't quite have enough throw to get it all the way out. Yeah, so that spot that you seen on the input shaft, that's the race hitting. Oh, that takes a lot to freaking turn. We'll go get a freshie and show it to you. Brand new unit right here. See that nice yellow grease? This one's shot. Oh yeah. Feels much nicer. I didn't do the 5th year nut on this trans back in the day. I think the output shaft seal is leaking. And that one was definitely leaking. The input shaft of the transfer case. I got the seals in-house, I think, should. I bought a bunch of them last time I was messing with this because they're kind of a goofy size, so I ordered several extra. I'm going to pull the back of the housing off, see how that 5th gear nut's looking. Hopefully, it's looking better than my white shirt is right now, and still intact and usable. Yummy. Just got the factory dink. Reasonably okay with that. That'd be a lot to make that move. Yeah. NB45 output right there. I messed up and put T-case input. That was wrong. Had this thing for 3 years. 19211. Boom. Right there. There's that guy. This guy here, it came in a 3-stack, so I just took one out of the box. But there's our input shaft. That one was failing. It had one of these little gasket doodads, and that gasket doodad just keeps the mess from escaping, so it just cages it in that valley. And then I got an output shaft seal too. I think we'll drag this old girl outside and pressure wash it off, head to town, because we could put this truck back together today. I just need to go get oil. Everything else was in-house, so I just got to buy the somewhat expensive part, even though if you buy one of these little suckers off the shelf, they're like 45 bucks. Don't quote me on that. They're expensive. Enough to go, the fuck? What you thinking? You gonna put that old clutch back in? Yeah, probably. Why not? I've got that many miles on it. You gonna put it back in with that throw out buried? Probably not. But let's go ahead and look at this clutch. Organic. She's still got tons of life left in it. For the amount that this truck's going to be driven. Ooh. Got a couple little hot spots, but honestly, not bad. Oh, yeah, break it in half. That'll do a good number on it. She's true to the eyeball anyway. Look at the flywheel. This was the flywheel, the original one off the truck. It's got a couple hot spots in it, but nothing major. Nothing I'm too worried about. How's that rear main doing? Arguably should be changed to shit. And pull it anyway. The odds of me changing this thing when I put the trans and everything together back in the day, because, well, I had to do some extensive stuff to this truck. It's got a new gasket right here. That's not a factory one. You can tell because it's got the orange junk on the center. So I do have a rear main. I need to double check, and we're still at the point we need to run to town. But I want to work on Grandma's truck a little bit because some of you guys are saying check the rear speed sensor. Doesn't have two front ones like a 24 valve. So bring Grandma's truck in here, and I have where did I do with it? Okay, so the donor truck for the 5-speed for this, I still have it. So technically I have my first 12 valve and my second 12 valve truck. Unfortunately, that one, given the circumstances, I probably would have saved it. Just cut the front of the frame and ran a salvage title. But it had the 5-speed computer. So I put it on here, but it's a non-ABS computer. So through ABS code. But Grandma's truck is a non-ABS factory automatic truck, but it's got a 6-speed in it now. So if I put that on there, maybe we'll get cruise control back. I don't know. We'll find out. But I want to bring it down here, mess with that speed sensor. Maybe it's just unplugged. Get that ABS light to go away, and then I have. There they are. I believe. I don't know, but I think these are the airbag sensors. I don't know. They might not be. I don't know. Let's read on it. We're talking out loud. 56006911F. Yep. Smell like freedom in here. Nice, I like it. So the last time these two trucks were together, it's 2014. Probably April 3rd, 2014. And at the time, that was the nice one, the dependable, ready to go truck. And this one was in that condition that one's in. It's like they flipped. Countless hours spent on this truck. Tons and tons of money have put into this truck. We painted it a couple years ago. It's got a fresh engine, turbo, intake, exhaust brake, you name it. But we got a couple of lights, and see down there, that plug-in? Pretty sure that's what we need to address right there. Wonder if we can get to it easily from this side. And then I was wondering if I even put the cruise control pump in there. Not the pump, but the control unit. I had to put money on it. I would say I didn't, because I don't see. Yeah, it's not down there. I don't think. This is under that. I don't see a vacuum line going over there. Nope. There's no cruise control put back in this truck. So let's address those two issues. Start with this one. That one's easier to deal with. Turn off my buck cherry so I can talk to you guys on here. Oh, come on now. I can't see very good because it's in the darkness. Feel like it started. Disconnect the batteries before doing that. Alright, both those sensors are installed. At least I think that's what they are. No clue. Put my creeper away. It's weird. I had to go back to get it. So normally there's a big mess of stuff that goes right here. That's for that. It's not hooked up. For the ABS. We don't got ABS. Ain't nothing in there. Somebody was saying that the light could actually come on for ABS if you're low on fluid. Got me. But vehicle speed sensor on a 12 banger is on the transfer case. Unless it's a 98 12 banger, which is a hybrid year. There's my drill gun. What's it doing way up there? I was looking all over for that thing. Highly confused right now. So, vehicle speed sensor is right here. Vehicle speed sensor is your speedometer. If you have ABS, you'll have an extra line up there to a sprag gear thingamajigger on your thing. Look at that MV5600. Look at that high dollar. Big dog. The HD, the heavy duty, to a ting ting. They really messed up on this and didn't put anything inside of it. So it sounds weird when you romp on it. Vehicle speed sensor. There is one back here. It's plugged in. How do we get involved here? No way. broken. That's a problem. Oh, got a nice fass underneath here. Where did you come from? I like it. I like it a lot. Got a little bit of a diesel leak. That's not good. We're not grooving with that. We gotta fix that immediately. So, got the technology to fix that. Welcome to my office. Old school tech right here. Give you more brakes, I guess, the heavier you are. Normally I just let my foot push the pedal harder, but here we are. Okay, let's see if we can resurrect some wires out of this thing. Get that up out of the way. Wonder if we're gonna get a red heat shrink unit on these things, or we gotta step it up a notch. Oh yeah, it should be long enough. What is this? Why'd you come off the frame? The damn tank poked me. Plastic fuel tank poked me. That thing went, Bubby. What the hell? Good solder. Hold. Hold. Okay, proceed. I always do the mistake of leaving those things in my mouth like a cigar, and they get moisture in it. Doesn't do you any favors. Don't do that. Burnt me. Anyway. So the way these rigs are designed, all the lights on the truck are supposed to turn on and then turn off if everything's good. It's called system check. Airbag light went off. Trans temp, don't worry about that, that goes out. Oh, the ABS light went out. Airbag light went out. Oh, damn, it's the fuel gauge. I need to add some fuel to this anyway, but that thing don't work. Does that thing turn off? All right. So look here, you can see real good and clear. We were getting a little bit of heat from that bearing. Yep, not ideal. So I take a wire wheel, clean her up nice. Some people say don't put any oil on the splines, but shoot, don't put that much on there, it'll be alright. Got her nice and cleaned up, got the tail housing back on, gooped up. We were ready to party. We could throw this back in there. I did have a new throwout bearing, so I'm liking how this is looking. Just get her in there and rotate the shaft best you can. Get rid of some of that gooberness right there. Any little bit, if you think your engine's sitting at 800-900 RPM just at idle, how much drag and resistance and friction and every little bit of interactions going on if your friction disc isn't moving back quite enough because it can't get free because of the splines are holding it up against the flywheel. Just food for thought. Any bit of extra resistance is going to react into trying to put it in gear. So throwout bearing, I'm going to go ahead and grease up the pivot ball, and then you got to grease in here. There's a little channel that's supposed to have grease. Normally they come pre-lubed up. This one did not, so let's lube her up. Hardcore today. I only turned the backlights on because the door is open. Pretty freaking hot outside. I don't know why I didn't close the door, but just food for thought. Don't know if that helps the conversation or not. I doubt that it does. Oh, weird that this one doesn't have anything in it, because this thing's supposed to be lubed up. This is an extreme amount of freaking grease. We don't need that much. There's a cavity in there that's supposed to retain some grease. Probably should get some like hardcore nasty tar automotive grease for like the clutch pedal thing. That grease that's in there, that stuff will stick with you through generations, I swear. It is some of the nastiest crap. It's worse than anti-seize, which is what I put back in there. Let's see if that does its job. Put a little bit on here. Since this one, it gets even worse when you get into a dual disc. Doing these little tricks that I kind of showed you in this video, those will definitely help. I've never had a problem with lubing up the shaft. I did take a file to the splines. Help us there a little tiny bit. Make sure this is on the right way. I've only been working on this for, well, I worked on Grandma's truck for like an hour, so I got 3 hours into this. Pulled the trans. My record for on the ground for pulling the transmissions are, an honest 40 to 45 minutes. I can pull a trans on any of these second gens. Third gen, a little bit more crap kind of gets involved, but the lift didn't really save me that much time. I did it in 30 minutes. Like, it started with 30, but it was a high 30, so I saved 5-6 minutes. Plus I had to put it on the lift and deal with all that. No matter. This thing's ready to go back in there. Fifth gear nut's good. Got a new tail shaft seal, output shaft seal. Pilot bearing up there. Clutch is perfectly fine. It's kind of funny, it's a center force clutch. Let me show you this. So, I don't think this ever really took off, because I never heard of another person running these, but it's got centrifugal weights right here. So the more RPMs you throw, the tighter the clutch gets. I don't know exactly the science on it, but the fingers look good. They got a little bit of wear on them, not a lot. That would be a sign of a failing clutch, is if those things are completely shot. but those got plenty of life, because if those wear thin, the amount of pressure you're putting onto the fingers is it's the same pressure, but you're not getting the same throw because that's worn down so much. And then if they're flexing because they're so thin, then that will also contribute to it not going into here. But that looks fine. So we're gonna go ahead and stab the trans back in there. I got everything cleaned up. Everything looks okay down in here. I might take a wire wheel to this real quick because I just don't like how it's kind of rusty. It's a California truck. I only spent 1 year in Wyoming. So, yeah, well. Well, it was 5 o'clock somewhere, but that showed up, came, left, went, and boom, they got away from us. But we got a lot more accomplished on this truck today than I thought we were going to. Mainly because I didn't plan on working on this truck today. It was just kind of a whim that I thought, I got an idea, let's go investigate it, and that led to pulling the transmission, and we honestly found some good news, more so than bad news. The clutch is still good. 5th gear nut was still intact and tight. Big wins right there. Also another win, I had all the bearings and seals in inventory. Pilot bearing, throwout bearing, rear main seal, transmission seals, transfer case seals. We got all of them in inventory. Only thing I didn't have to just completely do this job without going to town was the oil for the transmission. We'll get that another time. But I'm pretty stoked to say that I think we might be onto something with the pilot bearing being the issue. So that'll be in part 2 for the test drive, but I got to talk to you guys about something else that we need to step on this ASAP. I bought this truck, it had a brand new paint job on it, and that was in 2011. A brand new Mako kind of a job. And within the first year, a couple spots started bubbling off. A couple spots on the door started leaving. So you can see, if you look close, there's a little bit of a touch-up paint on there, color match. Maybe it was the right match, but the whole rest of the thing is faded. So this is what's kind of funny, is that's flaking off and going to white. This is flaking off. I took a pressure washer to it, flaking off and going to bare steel. You can see the white dots a little bit that the paint was still holding on to some kind of primer they had on it. And this side over here started going to bare steel, and then it just started going, it looks like, if you're looking in the stars, there's just a million little white dots. So this truck 110% absolutely needs to be painted this year, or it's going to just start flash rusting big time. And these things, I realize, they are just a moisture trap underneath there. This one had a nasty dent, so it literally is pocketing some rust underneath there. Hopefully it's nothing too extreme. But we'll rip those off and it'll just be a clean red truck. It's going to be painted red. But this is what's kind of throwing me off, is that's bleeding through white. Everything else is still white. That one's showing a little bit up there, but I almost thought this might have been a different front clip. But it's not, because it's original black truck, so it's still got all its original fenders and stuff on there. And then I did find out you can get replacement bedsides for these. About $400. And I think I'm leaning towards doing that because the other side of the box is in good shape. And rather than throwing away its original box, I could just fix that one side. Yeah, it's popping some, pinch welds and stuff like that. That's not that big a deal. But look at this side of the box. We'll know more once we take these things off, because this one's got a little dent right there, and it might be trapping some rust. So depending on how bad it looks under there, we'll just get a replacement bedside for it. But after all these years of regret on selling this truck, I'm going back through it and fixing these simple issues. And some of them involve pulling the transmission. Rear main seal should be addressed. We got a couple leaks from up top. We'll get those taken care of. But man, it's a blast from the past working on this truck. It's the same as the other 400 of them that I worked on or whatever, but this is the first. So thank you guys so much for watching. I think we're going to go back into the swings of working on trucks. Honestly, there's so many people going to the automotive stuff that I just got kind of burnt out on doing it. And I've said that before. I don't want to have a Greg A channel. I wanted to have a channel that did everything. But sometimes people just get upset that I'm doing everything and they're only showing up for one thing, which is such a bummer, because I'm trying to show progress. Just pure enjoyment of getting stuff done. If it's a truck or if it's a trailer or it's taking trees down, clearing a property, house pad, cleaning something, whatever. I just wanted it to be about getting stuff done. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you made it this far in the video. If you made it this far in the video, comment, I don't think all your little Viver stabilizer jacks match. And you'd be right. 2 of them do. Not all 4, though. Thank you, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Later.